Hey everybody. So in this video, what we're going to do today is just review the end of the week, look at week charts, see what moved, what didn't move, and what we're going to set up for next week. As always, subscribe to this channel and click the notifications button because what we're going to go over is extremely timely. And we do a lot of also some daily live streams in the morning. So if you want to be notified when they are, you need to be a subscriber so you get the notifications. We're going to do everything in alphabetical order. And I'm going to throw in some indicators tonight. This video might be a little bit longer, but it's for the weekend. So we're going to throw in some indicators so that people can understand them a little bit better and how to use them, more of like a tutorial as well as just going over what's going on. And as everyone that is been watching these for a while, we go over what is actionable and what you can actually do versus just theory. So just FYI, that's what you're in for if you're watching this. So let's just start here because I keep getting asked about it because Bitcoin is having this event. Let's just really just drill down into this so you can see what's going on. So this is Bitcoin, and we constantly keep trying to break this rising wedge, and we're just not able to. And if we want to get super specific about it, okay, we're right on the 5 and the 8, and you're trying to hold, and the 21 day you're running right into. Now, if you are to clear all these and you are to look at what just transpired here, and this bar has 2 hours to go on the futures before it closes, if it closes just here and doesn't rally up, you have a bearish engulfing at the edge and top of a falling wedge. It's pretty much the last place you want to be. So if we stay here, I would say that you probably are going to look at possibly coming down and then retesting this and possibly retesting this 33 level. So just keep that in mind for those that play this. Also, you cannot get above these levels. Every time you're trying, you're failing and they're walking you down. So that shows systematic selling. I mean, that's exactly what this is showing. If you look at these numbers and where they're at, this just happens to be $1,000 off of that one, right? So maybe that's what they're doing for whoever's trying to get out of it, but there's obviously selling going on right now, and somebody's trying to get out of it. Whether it's just all, whoever it is, whether it's just retail or an institution, someone's definitely hitting it and trying to get out of the way. So just keep that in mind. Let's get back into stocks and just go from there. So Apple, what's really going on here with Apple is that we've put ourselves in a situation here where, in regards to it, it's just not really doing what it needs to do. Like it's just here. Let's get rid of this, and you can see what I'm talking about. And let's open this up. Okay. And really drill into
market
this.
data connection lost.
Really just drill into this for a moment. So you see at the top of
market
this
data
is
connection reestablished.
Turn off the English guy. All right. So see how you're running right into this again, and you're holding this. You undercut it. Like you're not even making a lower low. You're just still kind of rolling. So I would watch this. I mean, I think it's great that it got to the 21 today, but it's Friday. It's an option expiration day. So sometimes these get a little wonky on Friday. So just keep that in mind. This is not something that you need to dive right into right now. You need to watch and let this develop. I would not be going near this until it gets over this 127.89 level, which is where we got in the first place. To me, there's just too much to play with here for 2 points. It's just not worth it. And we've been basing now since, look how far back this goes since you've been basing. You've been basing since July. I mean, you could argue that the base is actually here really, and it's really August, but nonetheless, you almost have a year base on this. So I don't see the hurry to jump into this. I would tell you to just wait and let this thing work itself out. Now, Airbnb, it looked like we were rolling the other day, and now we just kind of caught. This is very interesting because you're building a little wedge right here, right above this. So you can use a little bit of the 5 and the 8 here to kind of get a color on what's going on. And you're starting to see the 8 cross the 21. Some people love that cross. They get all excited for it. I mean, I get it. Usually what that cross will do is you will actually come back down and test. But This cross just gives you too much leeway, so I don't really use it, but I understand why people do use it. But what you're seeing is if you can build here, then you're setting up to push here. So we're going to see how that goes, but that's really what you're looking for. You need to get through this 152.70 before you do anything, and then you really have to watch this line and kind of go from there. But, and let's look at this on the weekly. So and just look at this. So you just see, you have so many issues here. But see, like looking at this on the weekly, it just makes it look so much cleaner, right? And as always, you can clone these lines, and that's what you should do, because by cloning them, you get the same trajectory of the other line, and then you see where it fits, and wherever it fits that's where your line is, right? So you can see how that fits right there, right? So now you know where your channel is. So if you reject here, essentially you should just be aware that this is where you would go to, right? If you reject, you're going to go to this level. So you'd be looking at like 110 if you reject here. Maybe you hold, this level. Maybe
Market
that
data
holds if it
connection
rejects.
lost.
But you could still be in the channel and hit here. So just be aware of that. It's not
Market
something
data
that I would run
connection
into. You got to get
re-established.
through this, especially the 153 level, and go from there. So AMC, I'm going to spend a little time on, not a tremendous amount, but let's just get into it. Everybody knows the fib levels are up. There is a development after hours that people should be made aware of. So I'll just go over it. Ameritrade has come out and changed all their margin requirements and limiting strategies on the stock. So this is very
Market
similar
data connection lost.
to what they did with GME. And so what it means is that people that have this stock that are in Ameritrade are going to have a couple options.
Re-established.
Their options are going to be to either sell the stock. If they want, they're definitely not going to be able, I don't have it all in front of me, but they're definitely not going to be able to be naked any options or sell any options naked. But they're definitely going to have to increase the margin requirements of the position, and they can increase how much cash you need to buy the stock. So they did this on a couple platforms that were more institutional based recently, but that's not what's going to hurt them. What's going to hurt them is when retail has to sell. And that's essentially what they're doing now. So this after hours is taking a hit, and just be aware of it. It's probably going to get worse into Monday is my thought. It's probably just going to continue to trend down from here. I don't see any reason why it's going to bounce with that news. People are going to be kind of forced to sell. And you can kind of see since this news came out, and it's kind of shady when they did it too. They did it right at the close, right at the end when you couldn't move or you couldn't even hedge it or buy puts or anything. And obviously they knew they were doing this all day. Perhaps their argument's going to be, we didn't want to alert the market, but you can just see how you're just trading right here and how you're breaking out of this. You can see if this line, how much further this line goes down. But, obviously the level to watch here is going to be this level, 38. You're going to have to watch that level in particular. But this is setting up now for that. This is where you were last time on that break, right? Where you broke down. So you're really setting up for that again. You're setting up for a retest of that. If I felt like trading after hours, you could see whoever's been in this after hours, all they had to do was short it, and it's worked like a dream. It just keeps dropping, and it's probably going to. This is probably going to continue its downward trajectory, just solely based on the fact of what was just transpired this evening. I just don't see any reason why that's not going to continue. Its downward slide at this point, because if you're forced to sell because you're levered, now you have constant selling, right? Now you have constant selling, so you really got to watch. The next level for this is really this level, which looks like 36. And you can start watching these little levels of 38 here, 36 here. And if you don't hold those, you're getting a 30. So we'll see how this plays out. But again, I expect this to be weaker after hours and to continue to be weaker until 8 o'clock tonight. So AMRS. So let's just look at what's going on here. I like this idea a lot. And let's throw in these indicators. So what you're seeing here with these indicators is you're seeing a roll here, right? See how this is rolling and this one's coming up? That's not really what you want to see. Let's get rid of this for a moment. Get rid of the 8, and just so we can focus, we'll put the 200 back. Let's get rid of the 8. So I just want to focus on this, and I don't want to get into a whole issue. So see here, you got to get above this wick. So if you get above this wick right here, this 15.25, you probably start to see some volume coming in here, and some people start buying it, because you'd get above this level and then you should run right to here, right to $18. And I think that's really important to understand that, right? So here you are in this wedge, you broke it down, you're in a rising wedge right here, or a falling wedge right here, and then you turn, and then you can see how you just kind of motor around. But this is really, and let's just start over and get rid of all this, because this is also something that you should be aware of. So we're going to get rid of all the horizontal lines for a moment. And you see like how you broke out here and then you just based, right? So just FYI, you have a high tight flag right here as well on this trade. So that's your wick. And if you break above that wick, which I believe is 1527, then you probably will see a push on this name. You could run into some resistance right up top here, just on the points, but I don't think so. I think that if you turn here and you get through this level and this flag, you probably will push. So that's what I would use. I'd use the 1527 level as a trigger and go from there. ASML. So you can just see this is just setting up to move again. Semis are so strong. You know, it looked like they were going to rest, and now they're not even going to come close to resting. They're just going to keep on going. So 679 here, and what you're going to see is you're going to see a breakout, and just you look like you're going to just keep on going. I mean, you really do. Hold on. You just look like you're just going to keep on going. So that's really what I would focus on. I would focus on, if I wanted to be in this, getting above the 679 and staying above it, which you are doing here. So it is somewhat actionable. Now look at this. Put the 5 and the 8 with it, and look at, I mean, how many stocks are above their 5 and their 8-day moving average right now, right? So it's very interesting. It's a big priced stock. So it's something that, you know, a lot of people are trying to avoid, but I mean, it is setting up, and it's just very slowly setting up, right? So you can even see here, look. So you have this level. Hold on, that didn't go where it's supposed to. There it is. So you see how you're wedged in there? Bonk. See how support, right? This is resistance. See how resistance becomes support? That's exactly what you want to see. So that's what's going on. And yeah, just like we talked about, like you can see this, even when we talked about $1, we just talked about this, it's already down to 41. So just expect that to continue on AMC. I expect that to continue to come in. But what do you do here? ASML. Look, you're easily heading for the top of this line. I mean, you're heading up here. It's just a question of time. You just have to have the patience to wait. But you're definitely heading up that way. So BNTX is one that we've been talking about for some time. We talked about it last week. It was in the top 10 video. It has just been an absolute unequivocal monster. And, you know, it's funny. We talked about this one back here on one of the first, let's get rid of these indicators. Back here, we talked about this breakout on one of the first times I actually did the top 10 video. And then it ran to 175. And I'm like, boy, we need to get out of this. And it's funny. I looked back at my trading on it, and I bought this and then traded out of it. And just looking at it now, I mean, just what a monster. So, I mean, I did buy it back, but missed a little bit of the move. But now when you're getting to the top of this, and this is your long-term chart, right? This is it. See how you have this huge channel right here? What you need to do is really get above this channel. So what we're going to have to do now, just so you can see it, you're going to have to draw it almost perfect, right? As perfect as you could possibly get it, and see where it falls and see where you truly are, right? So, okay. So that's about as good as we're going to get it. You can see you're here, and then you can blow this up, and then you maybe have a couple points left before you hit it. So you're about 238, looks like right now, before you get there. You're going to have to watch how it reacts to that level. It might not react real well. It might be an issue. And that's something that you're going to have to take into account. So just keep that in mind. Definitely keep that, in mind. It could be an issue. Let's just see here. Okay, let's just keep on going. I mean, it's just a beautiful chart. CCIV. So we have a base here. We're going to take this time for a moment to throw some indicators in and look at this. And let's get rid of the 5 and the 8 because they're going to cloud us up. And we're going to get rid of the segment line. So what you're seeing here is a turn, and the 21 is getting ready to cross the 50. But we've been at this song and dance before, right? So what we're going to do is look at this and see if we can get any color whatsoever from possibly another indicator, and see if another indicator can give us any type of information on which way this is going to go. So let's just start there and see if that happens. So is that giving me any indication on what's going to happen at all? Is that telling me anything? So the answer to the question is yes, it is. And I didn't actually know this. I didn't throw this in yet, but I just thought it'd be a good idea because of the pattern it kind of looked like it. But so the very first thing you have is you've broken this downward trend line of your RSI. You've obviously bottomed on your RSI down here. And now you're obviously in an uptrend on your RSI, right? Okay, so there's 3 things that have happened that RSI is giving you more information about what's going on versus in the chart above, okay? RSI is a leading indicator. It's one of the only leading indicators, okay? So there's 1 or 2 more that I'll get into later, but this one is you need to focus on how to use RSI. I can't explain it any clearer than that. So what's happening here is you see how you're bumping right against here, and this is to this. See how you're up here, and this is to this. Okay, this is called a positive divergence. And when you see these, it's telling you that you're going to, it doesn't always work. Nothing always works, but it's telling you that you could break here. Now, if you break here, look at this. Look how tight this is getting. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, could be Monday, could be Tuesday. Could see this in the newsletter again. And I'm not going to get into like the fundamentals and why I think that, it's overvalued. It doesn't matter. All that matters is price, right? So when this happens, I would tell you to be prepared for a move, and I think this will move quickly because of the following and the demand. People will want to catch it. So just watch this. Now, if we look at it on the weekly, and we really don't need let's go to the properties. We'll just leave it in for now. It's easier. And you can actually see the trend a little bit better here. And how you broke, right? Okay, so what you're looking at here is you can just see the reversal here on this week. Get above this and you're above the 21 week. So that's not a bad place to be either, is it? So just keep that in mind. I do think this is one that you should be watching. A couple of people asked to watch that one, and I think they're right to watch that one right here. So Ford, this is what your weekly looks like on Ford, why we have the weekly up. So I like this a lot, and I think it looks great. Now let's look at this on the monthly. I mean, you're running right into that 17 level, right? You got right there today, and then you rejected. So let's just see how it does. But I really like this here. And I think this has a lot of potential. I still believe that you can get up to this level, this 25.89 level. I believe it'll take its time to do that. But if you just drill into this, you can just see pretty clearly what's going on, right? I mean, you just bounce back, cut right through it, and that was it. It was gone. Now go look at the daily. And you can see what's going on. And now everyone's like upset because it didn't go up again. I mean, it's Ford, and it just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days. It's Ford in 6 days. We went from here to here. You're up 27% in 5 days of trading. So just keep that in mind. So, and it usually does not have moves like this. I mean, every once in a while you had one down here and you're having it now. The question is, what do you do? Well, you're above this channel, and the fact that you're above the channel is excellent. You just have to see what it does with it. Hopefully it consolidates before pushing higher. Now, when you have a breakout like this, the other thing that you can do is you can use RSI for this. And I don't know if it's going to work or not, but if it doesn't, I'll just walk you through what you would do if you did see this. So, okay, this is not going to be a good example of it, but I'll point this out. So let's just say that this here was lower than over here, right? that would be a negative divergence. And if you saw that, that'd be a sign that, gee, maybe it's going to come in. Now, you don't know when it's going to come in, but it's going to come in, right? So that's just one way to play it. It doesn't really fit with this, but that's one way that you could use RSI as well. Okay, so FNKO. I mean, this is what you're looking for. You're looking for these big movers, right, that come down and give you the opportunity to buy, right? Look at this. So here's your channel. Okay. What happened when it popped out of its channel today? Went to the 50. And now what do we have? We have a hammer bar and 2/3 of a morning star right on a key level and right on a what? Right on a trend line. Okay. So if we got rid of all these horizontal lines because they're bothering me, and we sit up here and we pull this back down, and you just look at this. Do I want to buy it up here at 27? Or do I want to buy it down here? The degree of probability of being successful on this trade, as you can see, every time it's gotten up here, has been what? To get stopped out. With this, and this is a minor trend line, but it's there, right? You can say it. So what you really want to look for are the major ones, right? And this one's not really drawn properly. Must have moved it. There you go. And we'll pull this back. Okay. So what you want to see is, this is where you want to buy it. I mean, people are like, no, I want to buy the breakout. Okay, do you? If you bought the breakout here, how'd that work out for you? I'm going to buy the breakout. Okay. Stocks have personalities. Pay attention to them, and they'll tell you exactly when you're supposed to buy them. So who made money? The person buying the breakout on this? Or did the person that bought it every time it broke below the 21-day make money? Right? So the person that bought it every time it broke below the 21-day and went to the 50 made money. The person that bought it on every breakout didn't make money. I want to be the one that makes money. So that's what you have to do. You have to use your head and look at what it's telling you, right? It's not a one size fits all. I understand that I don't want to buy stocks unless I'm making money and they're going up. I wholeheartedly agree with that. You should not do that. If you're new and you're starting and you buy something and you have a decent sized position where it's a large percentage of your account and you're down, don't even hold it overnight. Just re-enter the position tomorrow if it offers it. It's very simple things like that that will save you a heartache. But what you want to see is you want to see getting above this level. Once you trade above this, if you trade above this on Monday, this level right here, right, you're going to get a move. You're probably going to get a move to the top of this band, $28. And now that gets you in the trade, right? From 24 to 28. If you could get 4 points, you could get in this trade and then see if it does break and if it does go. And if it doesn't, that's okay, because when it trades up, you either trim it or just move the stop to break even and you have a free trade and you just leave it alone. That's it. And eventually you will get one. They will do what they're supposed to do. You just have to have the patience and not get frustrated. That's really half the battle. So FUBU, it was pretty clear. Do not chase. I don't think I could have been any clearer. We have too much going on here, so people aren't going to be able to understand what we're doing. So what we're going to do is remove all these horizontal lines, and we can leave this downward trend line here because that's not really going to bother anyone. So you've broken the 200-day and you've stayed above the 200-day, which is the most it's done since it's cut it, right? The 21 and the 50 are crossing. This is not going anywhere but up. Unless there's a fundamental reason that comes out, okay, that I'm not aware of. But this is setting up for much higher prices. This was your wick on your base. See this entire base? This is your wick. You're above it, okay? This is your red breakdown bar. This is the bar that's caused all this, essentially, right? Which is the H. Here, get rid of this. See the H? See what happened when you broke the H? Right? How that was it. Okay. So now where are we? Now we're right up in here. Look where all these levels are colliding right here. What's going to happen when you get through these? Okay. It's going to move. And I guarantee you, if we do something as simplistic as this and overlay this, right? You can see where your volume is. right? So you're through the majority of your volume, and look where the rest of it is sitting. Your next highest level of volume just happens to be sitting at the top of this, right? What's going to happen when you get through the top of this and all this is cleaned out? It's going to go higher. So we just have to wait and have patience for that to happen. So I'm very comfortable with this trade, and I would look at pullbacks on it to buy it. And that's really how I'm looking at it. And I stand behind what I put in the newsletter. If you don't get the newsletter, it's free. There's a link in the bio, and just simply click on the link in the bio or in the descriptions, and you'll get it. It's really that simple. GDRX, I just wanted to take a quick moment on. So here you have a story where you're just kind of basing, right? Well, yes and no. You have a 21 that's curling up and you have a 50 that's curling up, and you're bumping your head right against here. So what we want to do is we want to get to the top of this and break through it. Okay, so we have to see if that's going to happen. Right now, you just have to watch that 40-13 line and see if that's going to take place or not. JMIA was very disappointing. It was very disappointing again today, too. And this is why you wait for confirmation. So I bought a little bit of this, and then I just blew it out and took $1 loss. I did not like the action. And I want to make that very clear. If you buy something and you're not making money in it, why are you in it? It's not an ego thing. Just get out of it and get on to the next one. Okay, it's really that simple as far as what you need to be doing. You do not need to be holding stuff, looking up earnings, revenue dates, hoping that the jobless claims number is going to save you on a Thursday, or Friday option expiration is going to pop your stock up. It's real simple. I bought it here, right? I bought it on this break, thought it was going to go. It didn't go. When it traded down, okay, I got out. That was it. I'm like, this is not working. It was supposed to break out. I can always buy it back, which I do all the time. But why would I want to stay in there and now see if we're going to break this? It's pointless, right? So protect your capital at all costs. So in regards to this, you can do nothing here until you see it break this level. It's very clear that that's your level. See how, I mean, you can just see that. That's what you need to watch. So KOPN. I kept hearing about this massive move it made today. I guess the 70 cents. I guess it's pretty decent, right? Would we move 7%? I'll take it. I wasn't in this one. I see why they're excited about it and why they wanted it covered. And I want to get rid of all this. So you'll remember, I'm going to get rid of all this. And we're going to get rid of this for a minute, because I want to just walk through part of this trade that we did before. So you might remember that we bought this at 11.15. And this is just an example of how you need to learn how to read a tape. And it takes a little bit of time, but it does make a difference. So you go into it, and let me just leave up here for a second and drop it down here and cut that, put this here. For people that ask, this is, I get asked a lot and I keep forgetting. This is Trendspider. They're actually good guys. There's a link in the bio. You get a 7-day free membership to try it out, and I get paid an affiliate fee for it, but I give the fee to, and 100% of the fee goes to St. Jude's Medical Children's Center. So if you want it, just click on there. In regards to what's going on here, KOPN. So in the newsletter, we bought this at 11.15, right? And this was a while ago, and we bought this breakout, okay? And this time it's really going to go. And then it hit 12 on us over and over again. So let's just draw this so you can see what we're talking about, okay? So we bought it here, and I'll show you why we bought this. And this is important. To me, it's important that you understand this. So here's this bar, okay? Because it shows that they don't all work. Here's this bar, right? And it's basically a bullish engulfing. We've basically encapsulated all of this and closed above a level that we've never really been able to close before, and got above this. So it was a little trigger on a stock that just had a big move that could have another one. Well, we try to go, we're not able to. We try to go, we're not able to. We try to, see where I'm going with this? And it just got to the point where we're looking at it and going, it's not going to do it. It's not doing it. It keeps trying, but you have these wicks that are rejection. So we actually got out of this before this ever happens, right? So that we're not in that. So sometimes reading a tape when it's bumping ahead its level and it's hitting a level 3 or 4 times and it's not breaking it is just as significant as your moving average crosses and your volumes. It's actually just tape reading, just seeing like, hey, 12's an issue. We're not sure why 12's an issue, but it's an issue. There's a seller there. So that just something to think about. So here's your trend line here. You've broken that, right? And you've broken this downward trend here. And you can see how the 756 level, all of a sudden, that is now what? That is now support. What was it here? It was resistance. So it flipped. Now you're above the 50-day. Again, I see why you're interested in this for the people that are interested in it. And look at the curve of this and look what's happening here. So the 5 went higher, the 8 went higher, the 21's going higher, and we're breaking here. So I get it. I do. I get it. And I would recommend that, give it a little time. There's a lot of stuff in here. A lot. And again, this is one key thing that you can use just to get an understanding of where you're at is you can see by throwing in a volume profile where all the players are in, right? All the players are in all in here and all up here. Like this is your big bar up here, right? So you see where you're at. So you're going to have nothing but a lot of resistance up in here. Right? Which down here, you don't have any. You had nothing. So that's why it's moving a little easier. So you got to get through all this. And this is going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. So, this is not something that I'm going to recommend that you have to jump into right away or be a party to. I just don't see it that way. I think it's something that you can, you can keep it if you want. But I mean, I just really don't see the sense in it. For me, it just seems like, you're going to hit too much resistance in here. I think there's better opportunities. If you are heck bent on owning it because you love the name, 878, get above that. And that could be it's a pretty simple trade, right? But you really have to watch this because I think you're going to get stuck here. With all that volume that's just sitting at that level, I think you're just going to get stuck there. So just keep that in mind and watch that level that I just gave. So here you are on MANH. And let's do this. Let's open this down. Let's go here and here. And you have these 2 big peaks right here, right? See them? Okay. So I don't see any reason to get involved with this unless I'm looking to day trade it until I get through this level, because there's obviously somebody up there. And what you could do, like we did before, right? And I'm just trying to give you another way to use another indicator, is take a look at it and see what's going on up here. Right. So by using this indicator, right, and even though we were up here just a little bit, we can see that this actually is not significant at all. What's more significant is this level that's right here, right where we're at. So the probability, you see how like this is where your volume is, right? This is where your issue, right? Look where your issue is. Okay. It's not up here. It's not here. It's certainly not here, right? You don't even have 1 million shares here. It's right here. 3.2 million. So knowing that kind of stuff can be helpful. I'm just trying to give you an understanding of that. So if you were someone that didn't want to wait for the pure technical breakout, by adding that one little piece of data, you could now say, well, the probability of it breaking 139 and knowing that there's not much up there. Now, there could be more up there to sell. You don't know that. You just know that that's all they got off, right? They might not have been able to get enough off up there to do what they really wanted to do. You don't know who's up here waiting. You don't have a clue. But what you can do is you could say, all right, well, I know that there's no real volume between here and here, right? They didn't follow it. Whoever was selling up here didn't follow it down, right? Remember how we looked at that and it was vacant? Let me throw that back up, right? It's kind of vacant in comparison to here. So whoever was selling here, they were not, able to get as much off, and they weren't sure as heck weren't that as aggressive here. So you can kind of keep that in mind, and then you can use that to your advantage and say, okay, so if I get through 139.13, I can flip up, and then I'll get to the 146.50 level and give it a shot, right? And then if you break below this level, or you break below the wick that breaks out, that lower low, then just get out of the trade. But that could work. That could work there for if you really wanted to be in that. NIO, it's so funny. I'm always asked to do this one, and I was not asked today, which leads me to believe that people are bored of it because it's been 4 days and it hasn't gone up. So, but you have to look at what's happening with this. This is very similar to what you saw on CCIV, right? What I showed on that chart. And we're going to look at the RSI on this one. But look at this. And I'm not a huge fan of this company fundamentally, but it doesn't matter. I have to look at the chart. Look at what's going on here. Right? You see that? Let's get rid of this. Look at this base. I mean, when you break this, you're going to go. You're going to bounce. That's why I have this in here from before. You're going to go to that level. Now here, look. Let's just take a look at this and see if we can get any indication on what an RSI is going to do, if it can give us any leading indication on what's going to happen. Let's see if we can learn something. Well, hopefully if you're watching these videos, you just learned something, okay? So if this pole is here and this one is higher, right? Okay, that's a positive divergence. This is telling me that this is going to break and go higher. So if this breaks this 43.13 level, I need to be ready to get involved and buy it. And if it doesn't work, then I have to be ready to get out. But this could go. Okay, so watch this. This is setting up, and just like we looked at this one, okay, this is setting up. And what's interesting is that they're setting up at the same time, and we're going to cover Tesla, that this is rolling and having issues. So, and we're going to cover Tesla in a bit when we get into the T's. So I'm going to get rid of the RSI now, but hopefully you can see how that RSI could be helpful, right? So there's some other leading indicators that I will work into these videos that I use. I'm just trying not to throw too much out there at once. And I do want to do like trading videos, frankly, between the newsletter, Twitter, and everything, and, trading full time, which I've done for over 20 years. There's only so much time in the day, but I do think that these videos with YouTube are the most helpful. It's just my opinion. So anyway, you see how you're hitting this level right here. All you're doing is forming a wedge. What kind of wedge are you forming? I'm glad you asked. It's just a small one. That's all you're doing. Just a small little wedge. Let's take a look at the weekly. What's that telling us? Okay, it's telling me I got above a level that I have not been able to get above and stay above since back here. And I was back here 2 years ago. So I'm at a 2-year high. Okay, it's not a bad place to be right now. Okay, it's really not. And the high of this red rejection bar is 527. Is that correct? Yes, 527. Where are we now? Okay, so you are through this. Okay, and all these are pointing up. So this could take time to develop. I gave a couple ideas yesterday with Tilray and WKHS, and just listen. They're setting up. It doesn't mean they're going to happen in a day. Just like, you had AMC, and this is what's going to happen here. This is my thought on what's going to happen. They're going to rotate these names. So in other words, what happened with AMC, you're going to start seeing happen with different names now. And until they start cutting the margin requirements on those, you're just going to see rotation. This is not going to go away. You can't turn off the internet. So they're going to have an issue with this until they figure out how to regulate it, if they want to regulate it. I'm not so sure that they do. So, but what do you do here now that I've given that little rant? It's a good question. What do you do here? You can't really do anything, right? If you want to play this, it's simple trade. That double top right there where you hit it twice, wait for that to go, and boom, get involved and go from there. And I'll give you a level. I mean, you're up here, 680, 660 is what you're looking for. And, there's one I really want to talk about. I'm dying to talk about it, but I'm going to stay in order. I just saw it, and I'm laughing because everyone is like tormenting me over TIGR because I kept saying wait, and I gave levels and they bought the levels, but I still don't have a position in it. But there's one that's doing, and that's in that space that's doing even better, and no one's even mentioning it. And we're going to get into it in a minute. Okay, I added to the gills on this today. And I'm going to show you why. Okay. And I'm not saying that it's not going to pull back on me, but I had no qualms about being involved because they showed their hand today on what's going to happen here. So let me just show you what I mean. Okay. I'm going to put this down here. And you can see all these levels, right? This was the level we were talking about they needed to break this week, and they broke it. Remember how we were talking about that all the time? Then they got up here, then we stalled, and I said, gee, that might be it. Then we broke out. Then we got this. And you said, gee, I thought, gee, that might be it. Okay. Here's what's important to note. You see this breakout bar? Okay. Right. So I have a clear breakout. This is my first breakout. See how I have uncertainty the next day? So price or wicks or what? From those that watch that candlestick video, and I'll link the candlestick video at the end of this and recommend that you watch it and learn it. I give 5 very simple patterns. You need to know them. They work. They identify tops and bottoms and give you opportunities. So you see this right here? Okay, so that's my indecision, right? Okay, so I have indecision. I don't like indecision because that means that they don't know what they're doing. Okay. See this line right here? So what I had was I didn't have indecision. I had them trying to hide what they were doing that they wanted to buy. So when I opened this morning, I opened, came down, and ripped and covered all of this, which means that the people that were not buying here were just kind of showing you that they didn't want to buy. Look at the volume and how the volume on Friday of all days increased. And we all know that volume Friday today is much later than it was yesterday, right? It's just the way that it is during the weekends now. I mean, it's just going to be that way. So people go away, but you saw the volume actually increase, right? And you actually saw the volume increase on certain stocks. So the question is, what do you do with this now? Well, here. Okay. This is your weekly. Okay. And this is another reason why I wanted to add to it. So this is your weekly chart. Okay. You just flipped a weekly upper channel level, right? When this happens, these go parabolic. So I firmly believe that this is getting ready for a much larger move now. And I really want to see what happens with it. I actually thought it was running out of steam, when it went from 640 to 648, 650, but no, I mean, there was another 4 or 5% there. So I do think, and it is a big name, but I do think that it's moving. Now let's do the monthly first so you can just get an understanding of what's going on, so you get a better picture of it. So, and now we're going to drill down into this, and just so you can see something. So we've done all that, but here, now let's throw this in and let's get rid of these indicators so that you can understand this. Okay. So here's today. Okay. So here's today. And just look at what it does. Opens, comes down, and jumps. Did we have any volume? Let's take a look. There's your volume off the open. Okay, so let's get rid of, just so we can clean this up a little bit so it's easier for you to understand. There's your volume. Okay, there's your volume. Now, if you don't want to use this, and you don't want to read it and have a line like this, there's another tool that you can use. Hold on, and go properties. And another one that you can use called relative volume. Okay. So instead of looking at that, I can look at relative volume to average volume on a 1 minute and overline it. So when you see something like this and you see 5 times, so like instead of me sitting here, and I'm pointing this out for a reason, and sometimes I use this, and again, I'm trying not to throw too much at you at once, but you see how you have this line here? You use the line and say, oh, it's over. Well, that's fine. But I don't have time to look at this line and go, I'm at 671. What's the calculation to five? By the time I do all that, I'm exhausted, right? And I'm trying to trade. I need it now, and I need to know how much it is. By looking at this relative volume line within 1 minute, you know how much volume stepped in there. So even if I missed that and I'm watching this come in and I'm going, wow, this is how we spiked, and this is what I'm doing for down volume. Oh, I'm okay. I'm really not that worried. If I had massive down volume, I might be concerned. Look what happens at the end of the day. Right? Right at the end of the day, massive buying again. So not to this level, but this is a signal, and that's called relative volume. And whether you use this program or another program, they all have it. And it's something very simple that you just look at, and you can just determine instantly where you're at. And that was one of the things that I used today. And you can go look at the timestamps from when I bought it. It's pretty clear where I got in. I sold none of it. And it's a very large position for me. So this is the one that I was kind of excited to go over because no one's bringing it up. Everyone's talking about Tiger and FUTU. FUTU I didn't go over. I could, but to me, it's like the worst of the three in looking at the chart. I don't know why you're looking at that. Nobody's looking at this. Like this is about as textbook as you can get. You really can't get more textbook than this. Hold on. Look at this. Like, I don't know what people are waiting for. Like everybody should have been all over this one today. It's a classic breakout from 35 straight through. And look at this. Like you have your 5, your 8, your 21 crossed your 50, your 200's pointing up. Oh, and by the way, look at my volume. And this is a great example of what we just did. Here, look, watch this. So I go there and I type in, well, I have to spell it right. F11 to exit full screen. Okay. Relative volume. Let's put that in. Okay. So you can look here and go, well, was today's volume big? Well, it was. Well, how about this other day? Was that big? Yeah. Well, look at all that volume that came in and it hardly moved. Boy, we probably cleaned somebody out there, right? See what I'm getting at? Like by looking at this chart, yeah, that's important. Look at that volume and it didn't move. If it didn't move and you have that volume, it means you cleaned somebody out. And so when you see that you've cleaned somebody out, the next move might be a little stronger. And that's exactly what happened 2-3 days later. Boom, tests, retests. Everybody asks if it's going to stay. Boom, goes. How much volume were you up today? 2.5 times your average volume over a 30-day period. Okay, so you can see what happens here and how that tool can be useful. Let's get rid of that tool for a minute so we can look at this a little bit clearer. And let's get rid of these indicators. So the question becomes, what are you going to do now? Well, now you need to see if you have follow through. Okay. If you have follow through, this could really go, but you need to see if you're going to have follow through. And in order to do that, you have to get an understanding of the lay of the land. So we're just going to look at this on the weekly very closely. And you see that level? Okay. One minute. We're going to put this up here. So that's your channel. Now you can argue this, right? Here's your next channel. I'm through this. Okay? So now I'm breaking out of a weekly. Upper trend line. And this is my base on that line. Like, I mean, to do this count's insane, right? And here it is. And even if you're doing the count off of this from here down, you're still looking at 10 points. So flipping from here up is 46, 50, right? So this is something that you could be looking at. And I wouldn't be surprised to see this in the newsletter, depending on what happens the other day. And I wouldn't be surprised to see it at all in the newsletter. I like this one a lot, and I think it'll continue to move. I really do. You need to see follow through now, right? Today was a huge day for this, huge. But you need to see follow through now, and I think you're going to see it. RBLX, we're in from the newsletter. We're still in there. We took out a higher high and we sold down today. I really don't have a problem with it. It's Friday. Everybody's selling down on these things. We did it on UPST too. I really don't care. It doesn't really affect me too much. We still have a higher high on the day, and you kind of batted it around. It is what it is. I don't see any reason to panic or do anything on this. For me, what's going to happen is, we're probably going to move the stop up, obviously, in the newsletter, but the question just becomes to where. For me, it's probably going to be a little tighter now just to lock this profit in, because from 78 and where we're at now, let's just take a look from when we did this in the newsletter. We are up. Yeah, I mean, you're up 30%. In like a week and a half. So we're just going to have to watch this. But that's my thought on it. There's nothing to really do here. You got to let this sort itself out. Obviously, they're selling up here, right? And you got to let it clean itself out. But you're still above the upper trend, and you're still above the every resistance level. So let it work itself out. Snap, I wanted to cover just so you can see what's going on with it. We're going to leave these indexes or these moving averages in. And let me just close this. I can get rid of this. I don't need this rectangle. You see the 21 up, 50 up, 5.8 coming down. Let this thing figure out what it's going to do, because we just ran right to this level again, and what happened? We rejected. So let's see what happens there. But I don't see a big push for us to have to do anything there. Just let it sort itself out. SOXL I want to talk about. I was pretty clear to close the position when we hit 40. And I was right into this little wedge. So I'm going to get rid of this text now. And we're going to drill into this. So everybody was all excited today because we reversed and we went up. I think it's great. I hope we run, because as soon as we get through this level, I want to put the trade back on. I'm willing to lose $1.50, $1.60 to see if I get up here, because if this rolls, okay, I have an issue. And I just want to point out something. Okay, this is the SOXL. NVIDIA's hitting new highs. This can't even make a new high. So it's telling you that NVIDIA is kind of the outliner right now, and to be aware of that. So just continue to watch that and what you're going to do there. But I would be cautious up here. You have a lot going on. You have a trend line up here you're respecting. You're finally getting above this minor trend line, but you have this major behemoth right here. So you're really going to have to watch that and see what it does. I would not chase this. I would wait and see what happens, and I would not be a buyer of it until I get through this level. That's just how I'm playing it. I understand that, we did talk about this. If you did buy that one time where we discussed it here, when everything was falling apart, I get it. That's fine. If you want to hold that, I get it, because you might not see that price again. But I could just trade in here for a period of time, bounce around. So you really have to watch that and see what happens with it. Square, just to go over, you got to the 50, you rejected. You're sitting on the 200-day and the 21-day. Look, this could break. This could break here, and you need to see what happens. It's already broke once. If it breaks a second time, it's really going to break. So you need to be cautious here. You need to just bide your time. Look at that line. It's telling you that it's having an issue here. So just be careful. You break this 200, you better hold 197, because if you don't, there's not a whole heck of a lot there to stop you on the way down. There's not really a lot. You've got a couple key levels, but it's straight up. There's not like a lot of basing and what you need. So just be careful. And I would not buy it until you're above the 50-day and you're above this line, which obviously means getting above the 50-day. STEM just looks great. It just keeps going higher. There's really not much more to say about this. We can get rid of the indicators. You can see how they're doing. And really the focal point should be this line right here, right? And we don't need to worry about the downward trend line anymore, right? Because we've gone through it. So really what we're wanting to see now is you have this base. And let me draw this base back for you so you can see where I'm going with this. Okay? So you have that base there, and you can draw this back to here. So you can kind of understand this space in here, right? And how this is playing out as you've been in here. You broke out of it here. You here. Couldn't get here. Broke below it here, and then traded it back up. So what I really need to do is break out of this base. And that's kind of what's happening here. We pulled back, and now we're going to run through it. Now you throw the bells and whistles in, see that they're getting ready to cross, which leads you to believe that this is going to continue to push. So getting through this level was significant. Getting through this one and getting up there, and I don't see any reason why you're not getting up here. You can get to 35, 80 fairly easy from this level. And then when you get up there, you're going to start getting into this gap, and that's when it gets really interesting. So I think it looks great, and if you're in the trade, congratulations. And today was a big move for that. That's why it's in here. So Tiger, the one that everyone's interested in. Look, I'm not in the trade. I think it's great, and it did exactly what you needed it to do. Even yesterday, it did what you needed it to do. See how you pulled back to that line and then bounced off that line and then ran right through resistance? Like, that's just a beast move, right? And then look where you closed. You closed taking out all that resistance that was in here, right? It's pretty significant. And then you gapped up off the open, backfilled
market data connection
to the
lost.
Close, went back up and closed at an all-time, well, I won't say all-time high, but you closed
market data
at a
connection
high off of this
reestablished.
base that you haven't seen. Here's the close that was really interesting to me and what I'm saying, and I don't know why I said all time, but this is what I've been waiting for. This kind of move. Now, I do think that people are going to buy FUTU because of this FUTU, and I'll get into that and just point that out. But, okay, I don't see the need to like rush
Market
into
data
this
connection
one. I just
loss.
don't. I'm not saying it's not going to break here, but you don't have any confirmation whatsoever on
Market
what's going to
data
happen
connection
here. So
reestablished.
why would you be looking at that one if you want to be in this space versus this one that just broke out, right? And this did break out. That is a crystal clear breakout, and you're trade it. I mean, it's definitely tradable now. You have to watch these wicks, but it's Friday too, and it's on a short week, so a lot of people are away. So I knew we were going to get volatility today. I mentioned that in the newsletter. Hopefully people paid attention. Or why wouldn't you buy this? I mean, why would you buy the weakest one of the three because it had the largest move? That's silly. So just keep that in mind. We've done RBLX. I just lost my spot. Tilray. People are like concerned and freaking out. A close below the 50-day moving average. Did we close below the 50-day moving average? No. Okay. I was pretty clear about this Thursday, and maybe I'm not being clear enough, and maybe it's my fault, but I was pretty clear on Thursday in the newsletter. You need to get involved. I mean, I was pretty adamant about it, I thought. That's the notes from before the last time we were in it. Where are those other notes? Here they are. So, please consider, that's when we were up over there. Maybe this is it. There we are. So putting these in. So, I must have mentioned it on Twitter where I said it was actionable. So I liked it, and we did exactly what I thought we would do. From the 20 level, we went to 22. It was 10% on the move. Whether or not you wanted that move or you're looking for the bigger move, doesn't really matter. What matters is if you chased it, that's why you're upset, because you chased it and you shouldn't have done that. So understand what the issue is and then correct the issue, right? Don't worry about a stock that, you shouldn't be worried about a stock that you're in at 1950 or 20. Let's say you chased it a little bit, that's down $1. Like if you're worried about that, that's a concern. That means your position size is too big and you need to figure out how you're going to control your leverage. So I see nothing wrong with this. I see no reason to do anything with it. Please remember that before like AMC moved, you went from 17 that one week to 12. So when these are setting up for a week. I'm not setting up for a day. Okay, that kind of move takes time, and we have to shake everybody out. So I'm very comfortable with the trade. If we get stopped out, we get stopped out, and then on to the next one. But I don't see anything wrong with it. I mean, would I buy it here? No, because I don't buy charts that look like that. I buy them when they look like this, but it doesn't look like that anymore. So now I have to wait for another setup. And that could be, on an hourly, coming down here, testing that and finding a spot. Could be anything, but that's what you have to wait for. So TNA, look, I just want to just go through this because I was asked about it. You are right on this line, okay? Once you get over this line, 96.50, this is actionable, okay? This is setting up for a move. Let's get rid of all this. Let's get rid of all the text. We should just click to all annotations. Yep, let's just get rid of everything. So listen, this is really setting up for an enormous move. When you're looking at indexes respect their moving averages and respect their trend lines way more than any stock does, period. It's just a fact, right? And it's probably because they're a conglomerate of individual stocks. So it's easier for that to happen and to focus on them technically. When you break through this line, and the easiest way for me to give you that line is here's 101, which is where you'd head to, but really what you want to focus on is right here, right? Get above that 97 level, and this is going to go. And I mentioned it in the newsletter yesterday. I think it's actionable now. This is a matter of time. This is not setting up to roll. I know you're hearing that a lot from people. That is not setting up to roll. Okay, I've got price rejection this way. You don't really see a lot of price rejection this way, do you? So just keep that in mind. I think it's setting up. We got stopped out. We took in a 6-point gain. And of course, then after it does that, it's going to reverse on us. And there's nothing you can do about it. 105, get through there, and I'd be happy to see how it does. I'm not chasing it. I'll wait for the next opportunity to get involved with it. So Tesla, I mean, essentially they pegged right where they're supposed to peg it, to the 600. I mean, I don't think anyone should have been shocked by that today. This was probably your easiest. Like if you were looking for a lotto trade, to put this on Thursday night was pretty simple trade. You know, to try to buy the 600s when you're down here, because you know you're going to peg to one of those levels, either 575 or 600. And that's what they did. They just pegged it here. The move doesn't really mean a lot to me. You know, ever since this got added to the S&P, it's been dead. It's been dead for months. And you're seeing that it's dead. I mean, you're just seeing that people are going to the other EV makers. So, and they're trading those, and you still have this huge downward trajectory. So give this some time. It'll obviously, it's not going out of business, but why do I want to buy a stock where the 21's crossing the 200 to the downside? Too many other trades. I'm going to walk through a couple of trades that I did in this today so that people are aware of them and understand why I did them and where I did them. So in regards to this and this wick, no, I'm not crazy that wick's there. Yes, I wanted it to close at 190. Of course, I have a ton of stock in regards to, you know, my position sizes. You know, I'm overweighted in this. But we know where we were buying it, right? We were buying it all down here. You know, we were buying it all week along this line. We were talking about it every single day. Hit the line, trades up, trim it, comes back down, hits the line, trim it, so that we were building a position and taking money out the whole time, right? So when it goes up today and it rallies, I really don't have to do anything except hope that that continues. Now, when it started falling apart, anything that I bought today that I was break even on, yeah, I'm out. But even at the end of the day, when this broke, I was a buyer. And I'll overlay what I was looking at and what I was doing. So, and that's the one thing I do want to say. When you're seeing what I'm saying on Twitter, it's really important for you to understand that you have to make your own decisions, because, you know, I could be out and you only see half the trade, and I'm too busy to take the time to write in the tweet. And I'm working on a way to remedy that. It's just give me a little more time, and I think I got it figured out finally. So things can be a little more instantaneous. So here's that wedge. I'm not going to draw it perfectly. This is what we're going to get. But this was really simple for trade for me. Actually, I'll draw it a little bit better. There it is. Yeah. So this was a really simple trade for me. See how you waterfall it down to here, right? And you were near these lines. I mean, this was exactly what we were talking about, right? These levels. Okay. This was simple. And it did exactly what we thought it would do, and it traded back up. You traded up to here today, and that's where you need to get involved, right? And you could see how, look at the volume coming off the open, and you could just see this is it. This is the day that it's going to go. And it did, right? You don't get volume like that. If we overlaid this and took this out and put relative volume in there, what do you think that's going to look like? It's going to be a glaring buy signal, right? So that's why I bought it. Now, this was really, and that's when I bought it at the end of the day, and I just put that out there, was once you broke this downward trend line, okay, and you exacerbate to the downside all this volume. Now, I just want to show you this, okay? See this line here to here, right? Okay. So this is pretty much the most volume that you've had on selling, minus this down here, which was the other place that we took a position in it, right, during the day. So what transpired here? Something very similar, where we have the volume coming in, this undercuts and starts turning up. And what does this position look like? It looks like a morning star. See how you undercut after all this volume comes in? That doesn't tell you right away whether it's a minute chart or a day chart. Does not matter where these towers are. So then you see you're coming in, and now you form this little morning star pattern, right? And what happens? All the green starts coming in. Whether this works or doesn't work, I have no idea. I'll find out Monday. But that's why I got interested in it. And that's why I said when we were looking at this, and now we're going to show you how that all constitutes. That's why I was saying, hey, this is the 15-minute. Hey, we might have bottomed. Why did I say that? This was the end of the day. Look at this. And look at that reversal bar. This bar encompasses this bar. So at the bottom of the wick, or the bottom of this trade, what do I have? I have a bullish engulfing sign. It's exactly what you're looking for. So that's why I did the trade. I'm comfortable with it, and we'll see how it plays out on. We'll see how it plays out on Monday. WKS. I like this idea, and I think that this can work. It doesn't mean it's going to work in a day. So please keep that in mind. These trades take a while to develop. And maybe I should be clear with that. I'm not saying that anyone's saying anything, but just understand, like, there's a lot of moving parts to this. You know, you have all the people that are buying this that also own AMC. You don't know where they're in AMC. They might have to sell certain stocks to hold their AMC position. I don't know how this is going to play out on Monday with what Ameritrade did, and if people are going to sell the ancillary stocks or they're going to sell AMC. We just don't know, right? So we have to keep that in mind and just be vigilant. But when you have volume like this coming in out of nowhere, like, and legitimately out of nowhere, like, you have not had volume like this until this type of period a year ago, right? Look at this. So you just have not had volume like this. This is the second highest volume day that we've ever had. What transpired after that? Huge moves. So this is setting up. Doesn't mean it's setting up right now, right? It just means that we're setting up for it. So keep that in mind. Keep this on your radar. I do like this trade. It's just not ready for prime time at these levels. So, and this is a really big move in XLE. And if you find this video helpful, do me a favor. Please click the like button, because it's my goal to get in front of as many people as possible and educate them on what it takes to truly be successful trading. So what you're seeing here is you're seeing this set up and getting ready to break, okay? So you're sitting on this line here and here and here, right? You've been waiting for this for how long? Almost 6 years. And you finally did it. And you did it today, right? And you haven't even been above it since here, right? So you've been waiting for this for some time. Like, you really have. This is a really big line, right? Going all the way back to here, 9 years. And you're above it. You haven't been above it since back here for 2. So this is not something to be taken lightly. Get rid of these and you see the trend. So it's pretty clear that energy is going higher. Now, what's really happening too is this. Let's draw this better. You're probably going to trade up to this level. So if you're going to trade up to that level, that 62 level, you could start looking at stocks like this again. MRO, things like that are going to move. The other one that I gave was this. OIH 230, right? I gave this yesterday. I think that this can continue to move. These are the ones you want to look at. Take a look at things like that. ZIM. So, you know, we talked about this. They had the price at 40. Where did it close? 40. There's nothing to do. But I do think you're done going down. I think it just traded up, and now we'll trade around, and then it'll eventually go higher. There's nothing to do here. Just sit, watch, and wait. There really is nothing at all that you need to do here except sit, watch, and wait at this particular time. That's it. But if you're interested in this, wait for a little turn and wait for a higher high. And then once you get that higher high, either Monday or Tuesday, it's probably going to go. I mean, everybody's been waiting to buy this, and they're just waiting for this to work itself out. So that's it. As always, please comment. Let me know what you liked about this video and what you want to see going forward. Sunday night at 6:30, we'll be doing another live show, and I'll post the top 10 list tomorrow. Have a good evening and have a great weekend, everybody.